There's a popular saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsie and I'm excited that I just completed a 15-week journey with the CTL Africa team on the 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth by John C. Maxwell.
From the law of pain, I also learned that every problem introduces a person to himself. Honestly, till you face a problem, you wouldn't know the things that you actually have within you.
The journey for me personally was a wake-up call. Before I joined this journey, I wasn't actually learning at all. I wasn't adding any logic to what I knew.
So the law of trade-off is saying that you have to give up to grow up. So things that I think are not going to have maximum impact on my life, I have to trade them off.
I want to grow. I am not stopping now. I am continuing. And as far as I'm concerned, like it says, you cannot give what you don't have. I definitely will have to give what I have learned off to others and then get more so that I can continue giving. I am not going to be a reservoir. I am going to be a river, and therefore I'm going to continue learning to be able to give of my best.
Ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results on a consistent basis if they have a system, if they have a plan.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. I'm Samuel Ayim of the Center for Transformational Leadership, and I welcome all of you to the Leadership Platform. This evening, we're going to have a very, very great speaker. We're going to have an interesting discussion on leading as an accountant. We pray that God will be with us, that all will go well with all of us. We pray that you will be enriched so greatly this evening because we have a great speaker who is going to address us. So at this point, I want you all to introduce yourself. And but before I go, then I'm going to ask Abigail again to play the video of the growth journey for us, so that we would invite all of you to the journey. Abigail.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsie and I'm excited that I just completed a 15-week journey with the CTL Africa team on the 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth by John C. Maxwell.
From the law of pain, I also learned that every problem introduces a person to himself. Honestly, till you face a problem, you wouldn't know the things that you actually have within you.
The journey for me personally was a wake-up call. Before I joined this journey, I wasn't actually learning at all. I wasn't adding any knowledge to what I knew.
So the law of trade-off is saying that you have to give up to grow up. So things that I think are not going to have maximum impact on my life, I have to trade them off.
I want to grow. I am not stopping now. I am continuing. And as far as I'm concerned, like it says, you cannot give what you don't have. I definitely will have to give what I have learned off to others and then get more so that I can continue giving. I am not going to be a reservoir. I am going to be a river, and therefore I'm going to continue learning to be able to give of my best.
Ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results on a consistent basis if they have a system, if they have a plan.
Thank you so much, Abigail. And I want to welcome all of you. Those of you who have not yet participated in the growth journey, we want to encourage you to contact us and to learn more. But we also want to inform you that Live to Lead is starting shortly, very soon. And we want to encourage you. At this point, from now to end of August, we have an early bird. The ticket for Live to Lead this year is going to be 700 Ghana cedis. But if you can register now, from now till end of August, you would have a whooping 100 Ghana cedis discount. So please, those of you who are interested with the organizations, kindly register, and we'll be sharing the link with you as we go along. So thank you for coming. Albert Donko is here. Kana Balandia is here. We have Jerry Boachidankwa is here. Elkana is coming all the way from Tanzania, and we always appreciate you. Albert is here, and he says good day to the team. Jerry Boachi from Tema, we appreciate you. You always join here. We have Ebenezer Ni Ama, who is the relationship officer of Heritage College, and you are very welcome. Albert is joining from DC. Thank you so much. How is Joe Biden? Then we have Collins Luz Seidream Nai from Odan State College. Collins, you are welcome. Francis Gabin is here. Bless evening. Natalia is here. Good evening, team. Emmanuel Willendall is here from WA. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Atulik is here. And Douglas Amwati is here. So many of you are joining already because we're going to have a very great time together. We're talking this evening about leading as an accountant. And we have an able person. Every profession has principles that underscore leadership. And therefore, we gradually bring to you, we want you to understand leadership from different dimensions. We believe that the last time we did leading as an architect, those of you who were here, you saw how powerful principle from architecture can be used to lead people. And so if you are an accountant in particular, these principles that you have taken them on your normal day as ordinary principles of accounting that you use, I believe that this evening you are going to see a completely different dimension of those principles, and it's going to make you a better leader, not just an accountant, but it's going to make you a better accountant leader. So, and even if you are not an accountant, there are some principles in accounting that all of us need to understand. All of us need to keep certain principles for our personal development as leaders and for leading others. And this evening, we have an able personality who is going to do this for us. And his name is William Abayewin Atilik. And he is a professor of accounting. So, you know, we can't get better than this. Professor Atilik is a professor of accounting, the College of Business Administration of Abilene Christian University in the USA. He is also the provost of Heritage Christian College, and he's the dean of the School of Graduate Studies and Research at HCC, where he teaches accounting and law courses. Now, listen to this. Professor Atilik is a chartered accountant. He is a barrister at law. He's a chartered tax consultant. He's a chartered banker. He's a chartered economist and a chartered economic policy analyst. I mean, think of all the really powerful professions you can think about. Professor Atilik is chartered in each of those 6 major professions. And he will tell you, I hope he will share the story, that he set out from early in his life as a goal to achieve all these things, and he did achieve them. He's the managing partner of Maxim Consult, which is a consulting firm, and as you know, with his expertise, he's been a director of several boards. He's a chairman of the board of governors and directors of Fumbisi Senior High School and Agriculture School, Maxim Group of Company, Albert Insurance Brokerage, Chartered Institute of Compliance and Cyber Studies, Center for Entrepreneurship Philanthropy. He's a member of the board of directors of Intravenous Infusion PLC, Hope College, Office of the Registrar of Companies, Association of Chartered Accountants. In fact, he is the current president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, and he's also been a member of the Association of Accountancy Bodies of West Africa. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if I want to go on and on with Willie, we would just not finish. He's also been a director of Tema Oil Refinery. He's been a director of the University of Ghana. He's been a director of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants and chairman of the Audit Committee of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Everything that has got to do with finance, accounting, law, taxation, economics, business in Ghana and in Africa. And I know there's so many things he's consulting for the United Nations Development Fund in different countries, helping them to set up accounting systems for their countries. It's not just for companies. So Willie is ably qualified to lead us in the discussion of how to lead as an accountant, using the accounting principles to lead people and get things done. Now, on that note, and without much more ado, I have the pleasure to invite my own brother and my friend, William Atilik, to share with us on the topic, leading as an accountant. Thank you, Willie, for your time and for all that you've done for Ghana and Africa. Welcome to the Leadership Platform. The floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Samuel. It's a great pleasure to be on your platform, and I am delighted to be here to speak on the topic leading as an accountant. It's such a delight. I'll be very brief. In a few slides, and then we can get into a conversation. First of all, let's just start off with some basics about leadership. And I will not, make it long. A lot of definitions have been offered regarding what leadership is. Some have said that leadership is influencing people and processes to get things done. And others have said that leaders inspire and spur others on to achieve their best. When you go through all the definitions that have been proffered about leadership, I come to the conclusion and agree with one of the authors that leadership is taking responsibility for things that you care about. Now, there are things we care about in our families, in organizations that we work, and on corporate bodies that we serve on their governing boards, associations and churches and all of those things. We are members or associate with a number of different groups, teams, organizations, and there are things that we care about. When we take responsibility for the things that we care about, we are said to be leading. Now, if we accept this as the basis or the meaning of leadership, I want to submit that accountancy as a profession, and for that matter, the accountant as a professional, has the toolkits to better translate all the things that make a leader into practice. And I will shed that very briefly or shortly. Now, so who is an accountant? Or what is accountancy? Rather than engaging in long definitions, I would want to submit that people who are engaged in the accountancy profession are in the business of recording, classifying, analyzing, reporting, and interpreting information about their organizations, information about their teams, whatever that you are doing that involves the use of resources, and for that matter, financial resources. When you find a way to record and to process the recorded information more systematically, to analyze them, and to report the recorded information and interpret them to make sense so that they are used to make decisions, then you are doing accountancy. So accountancy simply requires us to capture transactions that we conduct that involve money. So if you want to be a leader, to influence people and processes to get things done, or to inspire and spur others on to achieve their best in the organizations, or if you are interested in taking responsibility for the things you care about, then you need to be able to record transactions involving those things, properly process them, and present them in appropriate reports, interpret them to make meaning, and get people to use them to make decisions. Basically, the accountant provides various kinds of services, and I will shortly emphasize how you can lead as an accountant by deploying the services that accountants provide wherever you are, whether you are on a board, whether you are in a committee, whether you are a leader. You don't have to be an accountant. In fact, I am not addressing accountants only, but of course, accountants will benefit from paying attention to this discussion. But whatever profession you belong, so long as you are leading an organization, and so long as that organization will require to use resources, including money, the principles that I'm about to expand on are very, very necessary for you to accomplish the objectives of the organization. So accountants provide financial accounting services, which generally involves recording historical transactions that involves money, producing reports that can make sense, and also cost accounting and management accounting, which involves detailed analysis of things that happen on a daily basis to determine how much it costs to get them done, and what other options are available to get the same thing done, and what returns could be made when different investments are made, whether to procure a particular equipment or to hire a particular person or to set up a particular department or to adopt a particular process or not. When you do detailed analysis to determine how sensible it is to get things done within an organization, you will be deploying tools in cost and management accounting. In accountancy also involve what we call auditing, where internal or external auditing, where you are seeking to review current processes and to see whether the processes are sufficient to deliver the objectives, and to find out whether the policies that have been put in place are being followed, and if they are not being followed, what the consequences are, how much the organization is losing because it is not following those consequences, those policies, and then making recommendations that will add value, that will improve existing processes and help deliver value. That's essentially what internal audit is about, and that's part of accountancy. And financial management. Nothing is done, whether in a family, in a church, in a corporate organization, a school, an NGO, or a national government. Nothing can happen without money. And we recall that right now, our country, Ghana, there's a big debate going on about getting to the IMF. It's all about money. If you don't manage the resources, the meager resources that are available, resources are generally very scarce. And so if you don't use prudent mechanisms and processes to manage those resources, you will wake up to find that you cannot foot your bill. So where do we get money to run our organizations, and how much does it cost to get the money, and what instruments or mechanisms can we use to raise money, and at what cost, and when should we raise the money, and should it be short-term, medium-term, or long-term? That's all about financial management. And you can lead an organization by deploying the skill set that you get from there. And accounting information systems, which is a fusion of accounting and IT. You bear with me that these days everything is done on technology. We use technology to get things. So how do we process this information I'm talking about and present it in a very appropriate form that people can use? That will require accounting information systems. And taxation. The state will normally want to take its share of the value that corporate organizations create by law, by imposing taxes. And so how do we position the organizations so that we align with the laws of the country to minimize the impact of tax on our operations? And also, how do we ensure that we are not evading or avoiding our responsibility to pay taxes? That all comes from having proper accountancy knowledge. The practice of this and the teaching and training of this is what generally we call accountancy. So let me connect the two. We want to lead, influence people and processes to get things done. We want to inspire and spur others on to do their best. And we want to take responsibility for the things we care about in organizations. How do we do so? Deploying these tools. And I'll be offering some examples as I move on. So, to lead as an accountant will require that you deploy accountancy skill set, and you do not have to be an accountant in order to garner basic skills in accounting. Indeed, every person who desires to sit on a board of a corporate organization must necessarily develop some skills of accountancy, because you cannot lead effectively as a member of any board if you don't have some accountancy skills. You cannot do it effectively. And more so if you are an executive leader in the corporate world, as a HR or operations, marketing, all the different functions, you will need to deploy some accountancy skills in order to be able to deliver desired outcomes for the organization, okay? And for the people and the situation that you care about. In fact, when you care and you want to take responsibility, you must have very detailed knowledge about the state of the things you care about. You must know what the current state is, and you must know the consequences of different actions on that state and how the situation will change and where it will be. Accounting provides tools that can help so that you will be able to take proper responsibility and manage things to get it to where you want. What does it mean to take responsibility? Feeling obliged to do something, or having control over or care for someone as part of what you want to do. So you sit on the board of an organization and you want the organization to be profitable. You are a member of a committee in the church and you want to care for people in the church. You are part of the executive in an association or an NGO, you want to do some good. When you feel obliged to do something, it means you are being responsible. And therefore, you take steps to move from a certain undesired situation to come to a very desirable situation. Or more basically, you want to fix a problem, all right? If you want to fix any problem, I want to submit that you can only do so properly if you have some basic accounting skills in order for you to be able to discharge your responsibility appropriately. So what are the things that you do so we can say that you are leading as an accountant? First of all, one of the basic things that any organization needs to do before it can begin to implement is to first just know what you want to do. Why have you set up? Why are you in existence as a church or as a company, whichever organization? Why are you in existence as a school, a university, right? Once you have that, then you have to have a plan. What are the things that you will do? And how much money do you need to do that? What that means is that you have to formulate a budget. My experience growing up has been that when you do not have plan, in fact, basically all of us do have plans, except that sometimes some of us are not very well organized in our plans, but there are some plans. Some of them are not written down, and some of them are very short term. But if you can deliberately write down your plans, short term, medium term, long term, and organize them more appropriately and find strategies that can help you to implement those plans and cost them and look for the resources, it guides you to be more orderly in the pursuit of your plans. As a very young person, I decided I was privileged to be in a church meeting where as a young person, most likely around the ages of 15, 16, where we were motivated to put down plans for the next 25 to 50 years and break them down, 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 50 years. And I did at the time. And every year I keep reflecting on those and revising them, and from being, a very, basic person without any, the privileges of the, people who are, I just want to say that I came from a very, very humble background, very, very humble background not knowing where I could put, my next meal together. But thankfully, by the grace of God, and also because there was a very deliberate attempt with a plan, which was regularly reviewed from year to year, I have been able to achieve or accomplish what God has blessed me, to do. So, and many organizations, I've had the privilege to sit on various corporate boards. A good budget helps an organization to achieve its results. Without a good budget, you could do well, but you could do better if you had a budget. Leading as an accountant, you must, if you are an accountant, you must help the organization to put in place a good workable budget. If you are not an accountant, you must obtain the basic skills to understand simple budgeting and always insist that the accounting people, put a budget together. It gives us basic information to guide us on what to do. And every year, as we reflect, or every month, every quarter, every half year, as we reflect and look at it, it guides us to perform, better. If the budget is there, you lead as an accountant by helping to execute the budget. We execute the budget by raising revenue, by producing goods and services, or by delivering the services that we have set up ourselves to do. If it's a church, you execute the budget by doing the things that the church is supposed to do. If it's an NGO, you execute the budget by actually doing what you were set to do. Here again, the principles of proper budget execution, which means let us regularly provide information about the performance. And as we do the things that we are set to do, we compare what we are doing and see whether it is in line with the plan. And if it is not in line with the plan, how can we, quickly get back into the plan? Or do we need to go back and change the plan? The deliberateness of doing this helps you to really become a high-performing organization. So lead as an accountant by insisting on information as basis for making decisions. So you don't make decisions as a guess, okay? Your decisions are based on these two options. Which one is cheaper? These two options, which one is more impactful? Which one brings in more results? When you have done all of those before you take a decision, then and those information are basically generated by people who have the skills of accountancy. There are times also we need to do proper analysis. So at every committee meeting or board meeting, at every family meeting where you are making a major decision that involves finances, it's always good to analyze. And the gift of an accountant is to always analyze. Don't take any step without analyzing. Of course, God always, multiply and bring the harvest. But God has given us different gifts. One of them is the skill to analyze and to discern existing situations and the impact of actions on those situations before you act. Corporate information, financial statement analysis can help a lot more when people, make decisions based on information that have been analyzed. Accountants also provide information, financial statements, which tell whether we are doing what we had originally planned or we are moving off a tangent. But another important area that accountants can help lead organizations is risk management. On a daily basis, we face risks. Every organization has risk. The potential that you will not get to do what you have set up to do. The deliberateness of always evaluating processes to see accountancy is not only about money. People have the wrong conception that the accountant is all about figures. Not necessarily the case. Accountancy also includes assessment of risk scenarios and always trying to find the impact of different situations on our objectives, and then taking that which will be optimal. The internal audit function and the use of audit committees. In corporate organizations, it is important that you don't put only accounting people in your audit committee. You have accounting skills, you have some legal skills, you have some technical skills, depending upon what the organization does. For example, the host mentioned that I serve on the board of intravenous and intravenous infusions. At intravenous, we have recently just decided that the audit committee should not just be people who are, finance related. We have some people from medical practice. We have a medical doctor on the committee because the company produces infusions. And so we should have the liberty of being able to review the processes and to see what is what are the risks if certain processes are not followed through. There are engineers. There's somebody who's an engineer, so that we see whether we are following proper engineering procedures as we produce this. I recall at Tema Oil Refinery when I was on the board, we did manage to take to the internal audit some mechanical engineers who understand the plant. So as you review processes and you ask questions about what is not going right and what else can be done to remedy the situation, you bring on board. So you can lead as an accountant by always paying attention to risk, okay? Both internal and external audits. Internal audit is a very important function, and if you are a non-accountant, pay attention to what the internal audit does. They always will bring attention the issues that risk is high, and draw attention to the risk factors and recommend what can minimize those risks, and particularly keeping a risk register. And so the government of Ghana, through the public financial management law, has insisted that every government agency should create a risk register, even so for corporate entities. And so at Heritage Christian College, where I serve as provost, we have developed a risk register. We try to keep it constantly updated. Same at intravenous. We have managed to develop a risk register. We try to keep it constantly updated. These point us to the areas that potentially could go wrong and help us to pay attention to them in the leadership journey. So accountants have the skill to be able to help us put a risk management framework in place. Indeed, there are many leadership quotes, and they say that a good leader makes people feel that they are at the very heart of things, not the periphery. Accountancy is very important in this. I've heard a lot of people say that accountants are very heavy on numbers. They're not soft people. That should not be the case. A good leader using his skills in accountancy will try to break down the numbers for people to see the consequences of their actions on the organization, on the bottom line, and to see that everything that the organization is doing, they are at the heart of it. Their actions and inactions is what is, creating whatever you see in the organization, and therefore helping them to take charge and to be responsible. So accountants should always look at the big picture, and people who are working with accountants should pull the accountants to always open up the numbers, to tell the story of the organization, for people to realize that they are the cause of everything, which is translated in numbers. All right. So we can, as accountants, use numbers to let people see the consequences of various actions in the organizations, and to see that they are at the heart of everything and that they matter. It is they who define, make or unmake the organization, and that's the mark of a good leader. And so if you are an accountant and you are in leadership, you should not just be engrossed in numbers and just looking at the numbers in isolation, but you should be able to tell how the numbers translate or are impacted by the actions of different members of the organization, and point it to them so they can take charge. Again, it is said that a good leader is a visionary person who inspires others to share the same vision. We cannot do that unless we translate the corporate vision into smart objectives. And again, to lead as an accountant, you need to help the organization to break down its vision into very specific, measurable, and attainable and realistic time-bound objectives that can be done. It is when you do that that people can begin to share in that vision, because they see the thing, it is very specific and it can be measured, and they see that it's realistic and there is a time line to it. So we can lead as accountants by helping organizations do this. It is also said that a good leader is provocative. Good leadership is always to interrogate the situation, and the accounting tools give us vast opportunity. At many meetings that I find myself in, I always love to ask questions, looking at the numbers. Okay, you look at the numbers to provide provocative analysis. When you look at the numbers, it tells this story. Have we looked at that? If you look at the numbers, it tells this story. Have we looked at that? You provoke a reflection. So accountancy is just not writing payment vouchers and paying monies to people, but always providing provocative analysis on issues to trigger debate and to encourage proper reflection on the different options that are available, so that an appropriate decision is taken to take the organization to the next level. A good leader is relevant. You can only be relevant if you have information that can predict what will happen when we do the things that we are about to do. And that is what accountants do. You provide timely and appropriately analyzed information that will facilitate, good decisions that are impactful, decisions that will change the situation. And also, a good leader challenges the process. Again, the tools of accountancy, we always challenge the process. So you provide what we call sensitivity analysis, what if scenarios, to lead to process improvement. If we do this, what is the outcome? This process versus that process, and using management accounting tools. If you take this process, what is the outcome? If you take that other process, what is the outcome? Between these two processes, which one is better? Should we invest in this or that? Should we hire this person or that? Should we take this number or that number? All these analysis challenges the status quo, challenges processes, and hopefully should lead to improvement in the current processes. Again, a good leader enables others to act. How do we do that leading as accountants? With information. You interpret the situation. When you take the financial statement, the income statement, revenue and expenses, giving you a bottom line, what does that mean? Who are we managing revenues well? Whose actions impact the revenue? What have they done that it was not contributing properly to revenue? And what could they have done? And so you direct that these other things are things that need to be done. What about cost? Are we spending too much or too little? What is the impact of spending this and that? And who is contributing to that negative consequence or positive? And therefore you then, so getting people information and making them aware of the consequences of their actions enables them to act and act better. And that is how we can lead as accountant. We model the way. We model the way by putting in place a clear work plan, which is properly costed, and then people know the different scenarios and they can follow it. I want to conclude on this by saying that we should demonstrate mastery of the relationship between business processes for different places where we are, and accountancy. Everything that we do that involves money, we should not be just looking at the outcome, the money, but we should be looking at what is the relationship of the different processes. The money issues are the conclusion. It is the things that we do, and leadership is influencing those things that we do. It is those things that end up in the money that we see, or the lack of it that we observe. Therefore, organizational leaders, whether it's a church, whether it is an NGO, whether it is a corporate, a business entity, whether it's a government agency, you need people in the organization that have mastery over, the relationship between business processes and accountancy, so they can help to. Let me just take a moment to say that if this has basis in scripture. If you read Proverbs chapter 21:5, the plans of a diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. So you see, accountancy requires due diligence and attention to detail. As a government, as a state, if we are very diligent and we lead with evidence-based information, it comes with abundance. But if we are very snappy or sluggish and we do not do proper analysis, it leads to problems, which is some of the things that most countries see, and indeed corporate organizations. In Corinthians 14:40, but everything should be done in a fitting and orderly way. Now, and this requires us to plan, to budget, to execute, to monitor, to assess, to evaluate, to report, analyze, and take remedial action. And that's accountancy. So we lead as accountants when we facilitate. And I like the story in the book of Luke chapter 14:28-32. You cannot start a building until you have properly planned and you have thought about how you will finance it. Or you cannot start a war unless you have actually planned whether you have the capacity to face the opponent. And if you don't, you will be able to, and accountancy requires us to plan properly and to always continuously analyze and compare and evaluate and monitor, and then do what is right. Everything that I have talked about reflects both for the individual. You can lead yourself as an individual using the principles that I've planned your life, continuously take action on your plan, monitor your actions, evaluate what is going right or wrong, take corrective action, and then plan again. These are the basic tools of accountancy. If you sit on a board, you don't necessarily have to be an accountant, but you must understand financial statements. You must understand budget. You must understand risk management. You must understand performance assessment using the tools of accountancy, because there is no entity that runs without money. So the conclusion of the matter is that lead as an accountant. Plan and budget before you start to take action in your personal lives. And I do that quite very often. It's paid off a big deal. And sitting on boards, just being conscious of this, you help the organization to do the proper planning. Be diligent and meticulous in keeping accurate records. And even as an individual, cultivate the habit of always keeping accurate records on everything that you do, whether financial or non-financial, because that helps you to guide your subsequent actions in the future. And when you are making decisions, be guided by what you have done. And that's really accountancy. Monitor your actions as they unfold, and always compare what you are doing with what you plan to do. And if there are off standard performance, take correction to correct them. It's when you do these things, you are leading as an accountant. I will conclude by saying that everything that I have spoken about, they are very practical and you deploy them at committee meetings, you deploy them at board meetings, you deploy them in your homes, at churches, in your corporate organizations. If you are starting a business, you can lead a business from a startup to a very big organization if you plan and you are diligent and meticulous keeping your records, and you are guided in your decision making by always going back to the records and informing by different scenarios, monitoring your actuals and comparing results to take a corrective action. So Sam, I would want to leave this one here so that when we get into an interactive session and there are questions, I can relate to a few more examples in the real world. Sam, if you are, I'll hand over for now, and when there are questions, then we can expand on them.
Navigating through life without a coach or a guide can be very deceiving, making you come to think that you have achieved the highest or the best you can ever, or you have made the best of decisions. But until you become very intentional and take good stock of your life, you would not realize that it's a mistake.
Pain helps you to come out of your comfort zone.
The law of intentionality and the fact that learning is a lifelong journey if you want to be significant. Emphasis on significance.
Previously, I used to be very unintentional about the things I do when it comes to my family, my work, my Christian life, and basically everything that I do.
In the pursuit of that growth, there are gaps. There are gaps that we need to conquer. These gaps include the knowledge, perfection, mistake, inspirational, timing, and assumption gap.
And I will encourage you to be part of CTL Africa's 15-week growth journey.
I encourage you all out there who need to live their life to be part of CTL Africa's growth journey.
Please take advantage of this program and your life will never be the same.
Thank you very much, CTL Africa, and continue to impact the world. God bless.
Wow. Great presentation, Willie. Thank you so very much. I was writing so much, and I want to encourage all of you, please write down your takeaways and your questions. I've seen a lot of you joining. So write down your takeaways and your learning. Let me just quickly share a few of mine as you write yours. Defines leadership as taking responsibility for the things you care about. That's another dimension. Every time a leader comes on this platform, we get another dimension. As we've told you, leadership has different dimensions. So taking responsibility, what do you care about and what are you taking responsibility about? He also shared with us the different, the various services that leadership, accountancy services. He shared the different accountancy services with us. So, then he says, leading as an accountant requires us to deploy accounting skills to deliver the desired outcomes. So he took his time, went through all those skills that we need to be able to deploy. We need to take responsibility, facilitate budgets, insisting on making decisions based on information, proper analysis, risk management. And he even says, even non-accountants should pay attention to these principles and the things the accountants do. So if you're a leader and you're not an accountant, you are the CEO, you should understand what the accountants are doing because it will help you to make better decisions. And I like the session where he goes through who is a good leader and listed some of the qualities of a good leader and how accounting principles can help you to be a good leader, whether you are an accountant or not, making people feel they are the heart of things. And as we said over and over on this platform, leadership, the true purpose of leadership is to add value to people. So true leaders want people to feel good. And I know like Willie took his time to try to explain away the general misconception that accountants don't care about people. They only care about numbers. All right. Good leaders are provocative. They want to change the world. They want to ask questions. And that's what accounting do. Visionary, great leaders have vision. We've talked about vision a number of times. Good leaders are relevant. Using accounting principles, you can provide relevant information to help the organization. Good leaders challenge the process. He talked about that. Enable others to act. As some people have said, it is not the leader's job to do the job. The leader's job is to get others to do the job. So as a leader, you have to be able to enable others. And this you can do through using some of the accounting principles that we've been told. He talks about modeling the way. You have to, as a leader, you have to model the way, go the way, see the way, and do. And that's people follow you. It's an exemplary leadership. People do what people see. Very, very important. So using accounting principles, this will help you. And Willie ends by giving us some biblical foundations for some of these principles. Diligence will bring abundance. You cannot start building without taking the cost, or going to war without assessing your resources. And the story goes on and on and on. Those are some of my takeaways that I've taken in my notes, and I'm sure that you would have yours. Share with us, and let's have your questions. Let me just quickly acknowledge some of you who have joined since we started. I have Francis. Francis Babin is here. Natalia is here. There's Emmanuel Atilik who is here. Douglas Amwate is here. I have Dennis who is here. Colin Marke is here. Samuel Richard from Suhum. Amofa is here. Ebenezer Ayesu is here. Teddy Allen, I see you. It's Dr. Abdallah Ali Nachia. Thank you, Doc, for being here. I have, he says, a son of Balandia from Tanzania. Thank you so much. Willie Glay is here. Philip Angbo is here. Philip is from Tema. Nana Tele, we thank you. You're always with us. Richard Ahulu is here. John is here. John Allen. Dorothea Thompson. So many people are here. Now, I'm going to skip a few of you and look for questions. Sammy Mens is here. Abedonko, Francis Essel. So many people. Gloria Madana is here. I have Miami Bafolo is here. I have Daniel Oklepon. Frank Asian says great personality. Hajia says good evening from Tamale. Hajia Ali Masagito has a question, and Willie, I want you to start taking notes. Questions are beginning to come through. Hajia Alima is asking, please, what are the risk mitigation strategies for the current economic challenges? What are the risk mitigation strategies for the current economic strategies? Will you note that? I'll take a few more questions for you, and then you would come and answer. Take some water. Na Ode Bill is here. It is very insightful presentations here. Conrad Kakraba, glad to see my provost of Heritage Christian University, Professor Atulik, being hosted on the leadership platform. Thank you, Conrad. Anam Sisam says, great, Prof. Thank you. Albert says, superb. Inusa Ajayi says, watching from Cotonou. Thank you. Bonsoir, Monsieur Ajayi. Soyez le bienvenu. Thank you for coming. Haja, enjoying the presentation. Mastery of the subject is important. Fayatu Abdul Mumin says, good evening. I'm late today, but I hope you learned a bit. Prof, you are on top. Innocent Dolly says that. Mami Buffalo says, great presentation. Plan, make budget, analyze risk, keep records. Wow. Thank you. So those are Mami's takeaway. Sam Immense, excellent presentation indeed. I learned, unlearned, and relearn principles of leadership through accounting. Great. Joseph Upon, great presentation, Prof. Regina Peggy says, that was sharp, Prof. Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any more questions. Prof, the Leonard watching from USA, that is Cabo Austin. Jemima Kumi, good evening from the USA. All right. Willie, he says, long time no see. So you have to find time to go to the US. Kevin Bless, Kunache is here. All right. I'm trying to find the questions, but I'm not getting it. Okay, Sammy Man says, hello, Prof. This is Sammy from LUCPA Liberia. Regardless of the leadership qualities you mentioned, why many accountants don't make to CEO positions and they always sit below the CEO? All right, so those are two questions for you. What are the risk mitigation factors? Why is it that accountants don't make it to the CEO position and they are always serving under the CEO? I've seen a few of them though. Teddy, Allison, thank you for wonderful presentation. Setiam, Jeffrey Nkrumah, NIB Accra. All right. Now, Ode Bills. Honestly, I haven't heard of CPL, but with this presentation by Prof, I think you can have some program with Accountant General's Department in Ghana. All right. So, Prof, some work for you there. Natalia, I wish to ask our speaker, have there been anyone who has ever been successful without written plans? Okay, so Prof, I think I will let you come up with those three questions and answer them. There's so many comments coming up so that you can address them for us. Three questions. I hope you took note of them.
Yes, I did.
All right, so I have a few of mine, but I want to finish from the floor, then I'll come to my questions. Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm very grateful for the friends. And hello to a couple of friends who I'm seeing online for after a long period of time. I will make time to connect. The first question, risk mitigation strategies for our current challenges. Now, let me be honest and say that the first thing that you can mitigate any risk is to really recognize that risk is real, and then to accept the reality. So acknowledge the challenges. If you refuse to acknowledge challenges, then you will not even take steps to address them. So we must always be honest and brave to acknowledge that there are challenges and we want to do something about those challenges. That's the first thing. Now, the second one is if you are referring to the Ghanaian economy at this moment, there is not a single group of people, one person or a group of people who has all that it takes to solve these problems. There must be inclusiveness. So the brainstorming of different, ideas from different groups, tolerance of ideas and inclusive thinking, where we do proper analysis devoid of politics. Now, I'm not a naysayer, but I shudder to say that the way we do politics in Ghana, it's about political parties, NDC, MPP, CPP, PNC. And if we continue on that tangent, I'm sorry. Solutions to economic challenges will only be temporary. If we really want a permanent solution to our problems, we need to be inclusive in our approach to analyzing situations. And so, but more directly, we should analyze the current situation and support it with, data and act based on the analysis. So I've given you a general frame. Now, if you go into analyzing the current situation, you will come to the conclusion that it is one of having very little revenue and spending so much. That's basically the bottom line. We are spending so much, which is good because we have needs, but we are raising so little. The numbers say it all. And that's what I meant by leading as an accountant. Let the numbers tell you the reality on the ground. So let us see what is the consequences of our actions. When you do financial, the banking sector, crisis bailout, when you do free senior high school, when you do interventions for COVID, when you do all the kinds of spending that we are doing with a very small pot of revenue, which is not expanding as was intended, you run into this kind of situation. So what is the solution? The solution is to analyze the situation. What is the pot? What can that pot afford? What are the drastic measures that we need to take to cut the spending so that we can accommodate our spending with the pot that we have? What we have done is to go and borrow. And that is a very normal reaction. Even as individuals, we do that. When your spending is more than your revenue, your immediate reaction is to go and borrow if you can. But you see, we have got to the point where we are not even able to borrow, and that's making us, and we are unable to sustain the current spending. So a lot of statutory payments are in arrears. So let's be inclusive. Let's take politics out. Let us brainstorm very objectively, and then let us analyze the situation. And on the basis of whatever the numbers tell us, there are recommendations. Let's take them. I think I'll leave my recommendation at this general frame so that those who are involved can do what needs to be done. The second question was, accountants don't get to the CEO position. Meanwhile, we have tools. I must say that there are a number of accountants who are leading organizations as CEOs. And there cannot be a functional board, corporate board, without an accounting skill. That board is going to be very challenged. And being on the boards, and I have come to the conclusion, serving on a number of boards, to realize the usefulness, the utility of accountancy as a tool in helping organizations move to where they want to be. Accountants that look at the big picture and see accountancy as a value-adding process to get an organization from a certain point to another point, they are the ones that get to the CEO position. But if you occupy your accountancy post, like, just being interested in the numbers and just doing the numbers, just that, and doing vouchers, you are interested in the payment of vouchers, you will remain there. But if you look at the big picture, asking the questions and using the numbers to tell the story and to relate to the people and to be able to influence processes, to influence the people with the numbers, you will soon be discovered as somebody who needs to, be the CEO. And I say with gratitude that all I needed was to be on one board. And thankfully, a number of the boards that I do are private companies, and I get to go to most of those boards because on one, by working with many other people who are connected in other places, they find that, well, we think that this gentleman asked some provocative questions that can help all of us collectively to find solutions that will lead the company in the right way. And then I get an invitation. And then I get an invitation when I go there. And before long, you realize that you are receiving invitations to sit on boards more than you can potentially even be able to handle. So if you want to rise to the CEO level, look at the big picture. Don't just be myopic and look at the numbers just for the sake of the numbers. Let the numbers tell story, and always relate the numbers to how to influence people and processes to get things done. And you must be a master. An accountant doesn't belong to one sector or industry. You are in health, you are in manufacturing, mining, oil and gas, education, training. Anytime you sit in any organization, NGO, church, wherever, you need to understand the processes and then to relate your accountancy to the processes. And rather than just being straight jacket number crunching person, that you remain as the number crunching person. The world has moved on, and accountants are taking a leading role, not as number crunchers, but people who look at the big picture and provide a roadmap. Success without a plan. Well, I do not know everything in this world, and it is certainly possible that providence of God can bring success to a number of people who just by chance will do things and do it well and be successful, and I can't dispute that. But many of the organizations and the individuals who came from a humble beginning, and myself is an example, who by God's grace and providence have managed to scale up and to be able to help themselves and society, have done so with a plan. And right from age 16, I had a personal plan. I keep a file. I have a personal plan that covers, my social life, my professional academic life, my business, associations, and all of that. And I keep reviewing them every year. I have the habit of reviewing them on my date of birth. That's my year. I start from my date of birth to the following one, and it's helped me a lot. Not everything that I've put on my plans have been actualized. Not all of them. I've had to make a number of changes some of the time, and I still do. There are certain things after a year I realize that no, this is no longer relevant and needs to get out of the plan. And so that happens. But deliberate planning, intentionality of doing things has certainly helped me, and I take that one very seriously. And in organizations that I have been associated with, I do always persuade the members and the other team members that, look, let's take planning seriously. But a plan is as useless as anything if you just plan and you put it on the shelf. You must equally pay attention to the intentionality of moving plans from being plans to action. Okay, and that is why I talk about all the tools of accounting comes in handy. You plan, you act, you record the actions, and you analyze what you have recorded, interpret their implications, monitor what is happening, evaluate, assess. When there are deviations, you take corrective action, and then you continue again. This way, you certainly see some progress. Sometimes you will fail, but you learn from the failure, from the analysis. Sam, I think those are responses to the 3 questions.
Thank you so very much for those ones. Jeffrey is saying that this is my first time. I count it a blessing. Can the slides and videos be shared? We thank you, Jeffrey Nkrumah, for coming for the first time. We share the videos. This is live on YouTube. This is live on Facebook, and it's also on our website, ctl.africa.com, and you will get the slides also on our website. So keep on joining us. This is your first time. Let it not be the last. Every week on Saturday at 7 p.m. we are here. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, on CTL Africa. All right. So thank you so much for that. I have Nathaniel Obin says, very powerful quote. When you care, you take responsibility. All right. Emmanuel Wallington says, wow, this is very insightful. I will want to ask, this is from Emmanuel Willie, what is the most important tool in the accounting toolbox that I, as a layperson, can, there's a word there, I don't know whether it's a printer's
I think it's
devil.
adopt.
Adopt to be a better leader. And as a leader, I have followers. Are the tools to guide me, or do need to teach my, what are the tools I need to teach my followers? All right. So that is the first question from here. Okay, Sammy corrected LICPA to, all right. Sitem Nkrumah says, what is the biggest threat? So I guess you get Woolies, Emmanuel's question. What is the biggest tool he needs for himself and for his followers? What is the biggest threat to the practice of accounting in developing Africa today? And why, in the face of the growing practice on the continent, does our resources still get stolen or misused and applied? This is a very important question. All right. So Natalie has a few more comments. A few attitude to do aspect. I believe attitudes do impact finances. How true is that? Okay. Do our attitudes affect finances? What is the consequences of our action when it comes to spending? All right. I believe Willie has said that. Sisi Asante, thank you, Prof, for this insightful presentation. Albert, he says this is very deep. Great job from Adam. Emmanuel says, Prof, again, can we say accountants have failed to lead in Ghana and, for that matter, Africa, given that the continent is riddled with debt? So, Willie, you people, you are in trouble today. Great insight, Chris says. All right, Natalie tried to correct what she says. I believe attitudes do impact financial plans. How's the case of Ghana affected? All right, all that. All right. So thank you, Hajia says, thank you for answering my questions very well. So she's happy. Daniel says, grateful, Prof. And Francis says, great. I think those are the comments I have from there. So, well, if you can take those few questions that came up quickly, then
all right.
We will see.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Emmanuel's question, Emmanuel Willington.
Yes.
There is not one single tool that I will recommend. You need all of them. But as a non-accountant, I will say that just open up. There are a number of non-accounting people who are they have a phobia for numbers. And so they just run away from the numbers. The numbers is a summary of the consequences of all actions that happen. Whatever organization you are running, the financial statement, it is a summary of the actions and the inaction that happen. So don't have a phobia for that. I will say just always try to understand and ask the question. So these numbers, what do they imply? What do they mean? What did I do right? These numbers, what are they telling me I did right? What are they telling me I didn't do right? Always try to understand that. And if you don't understand, ask questions. There will always be an accounting person in the room, either in the finance office or on the board. As a non-accountant, ask the questions. And you did ask, you will definitely need to train your followers to understand basic financial management and financial accounting. Everybody that runs a business or that runs an organization, everybody that is a leader in a church or in an organization where money is used, where we are intending to get things done, you need some basic training in financial management and in basic accounting. Not to become an accountant, but to appreciate the implications of the numbers and the consequences of actions on the numbers. So so you can always do the right thing. So get your followers trained, and there are a lot of training houses, for that. If you reach out to Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, we will help you. I'm sure some other training, CTL Africa, could be a good resource as well. Then, what is the biggest threat to the practice of accounting in developing Africa today? Well, the biggest threat is we not being honest, lack of integrity. Accountancy is a profession done by human beings, mortals like us. If there is going to be a deficiency of character, it shouldn't be for integrity. The whole essence of having an accountant is have somebody who has been trained to appreciate the consequences of actions on the numbers so he can interpret it to us, and who can be so trusted to take custody of the resources, and everybody can sleep knowing that one pesewa of the resources will not get lost. Unfortunately, we have human beings who are pretty greedy, very self-interested, self-seeking. And so rather than protecting the pairs and helping people to appreciate and take decisions that will lead the company to prosperity, we are having to manipulate and take decisions that will inure to our self-interest and our self-benefit. That is the biggest threat. And if we can watch that and have a profession of people who are members of integrity, that will be very great. And why in the face of the growing practice on the continent does resources still get stolen? Because people are greedy, people are selfish, and people are not well-intending. So instead of using their training to lead the company to greatness, they are manipulating to see what, and I've seen this in a few places that I have been, that particularly, and I say this regrettably, particularly the machinery that we have to run state institutions is so, designed in a way and uses different stakeholders such that integrity becomes a very difficult thing to do. And that explains the reason why the majority of state institutions are bleeding. Yes, attitude definitely impact finances. It is our actions. It's our actions. If you wake up and you lay down in your room, you don't go out, no revenue will flow to you unless a Samaritan comes to dash you something. If you don't go to buy food, or if you don't go to do anything to eat, there will be no expenditure. So finances is the consequences of our actions. So if you act properly, you will get a very good financial outcome. If you act improperly, so anytime we get into difficulty, it's either partly because we haven't acted properly, or sometimes natural, phenomena, just trust hard luck on us. That also is a factor. But by and large, our attitudes, create problems for us. What is the consequences of our actions when it comes to spending? Of course, if you are paid 100 Ghana cedis and you want to spend on things that will cost you 300 Ghana cedis, you will have to go and borrow 200. If you borrow, you have to pay plus interest. Unless you borrow to do things that will generate revenue, you will not have money to go and pay the interest and the money that you borrowed. And the borrowing and the interest will be compounding. And it will get to a point where you will be just, bankrupt. You will be incapable of paying, your debt. Borrowing is not necessarily bad. If you borrow to use the money to do something that generates, returns sufficient enough to pay the interest and to pay the principal, you grow. And that again comes from proper analysis, which the tools of accountancy provide. So if we just close our eyes and borrow, and then we borrow the money to do operational spending that is non-productive, then you expect to see, what we have. Can we say accountants failed in Ghana? Well, I won't say that, but I'll say that some people haven't done their work well. The economy is not necessarily being run by accountants. So But of course, if accountants don't do their work well, it will lead to. So if you find yourself in any space in the public sector, you are in a small office in the Controller and Accountant General, your actions and inactions can lead to the national debt. The piece of advice that you offer, if it's not based on a well-analyzed situation, we will take a decision that is not useful. I think I should end here for Sam to ask
All
his.
right. Thank you so much. But there's a last question I don't want to skip. Well, I think Sammy Mens is saying that, Prof, any role can a professional accountancy organization play to enhance accountants' leadership skills and move accountants from number crunching to take leadership roles? Leadership is not greatly captured as part of the accounting training examinations. All right, so that's all right. So I think
If I may just answer that one, yes, the
yes,
accountancy, professional accountancy organization do have a role to play, in fact, a direct role to play, to ensure that the kind of training given to people, particularly those who qualify as chartered accountants, it's very current and really directs the attention of those trained on the issues that matter, and to transition them from number crunching into critical thinking and proper reflection on how to lead as accountants. And that's something that professional accountancy organizations have to do, to become, the tool for training people who are current in the practice of accountancy. And we try to do that. And I'm happy my colleague from Liberia, who is involved in their professional accountancy body, is asking this question. You do definitely have a role to play. Train ethical, accountants who put integrity at the top of the scale and who are very current and have a mastery of the issues that matter. That is the role of professional accountancy bodies.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so I guess we're getting to the end of the time. So we've had enough questions, enough discussions. The team's comments is, wow, Prof. I think this will summarize the sentiment around. I am so astounded by your blunt answers on the biggest threat to accounting practice in developing Africa today. I very much appreciate your honest insight, Prof. May you live to see the end of your days in glory. God bless you. The rest of the comments, nice insight. Good evening, everyone. Prof, as I always say, you are the best tool for Ghana and humankind. Thank you so much, and God bless you. That is from Akuba, Julia. So, because we get it to the end, I think we'll end it there. I don't know if Sarah, we have 2 minutes. Sarah, I don't know if you have some quick comment for Prof or question before we end.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm sitting here crunching numbers. I'm not an accountant, but running my businesses, I can see that I need to really have proper records. I didn't have records, so this has been a useful lesson for me. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Willie, I guess you would just give us your closing thoughts because we're getting to the top of the time. And so give us your closing remarks, and then we would thank everybody who has been here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be on your platform and to share some thoughts on leading as an accountant. First of all, those of my friends online who are accountants, let me say we have been blessed with enormous tools that we can lead organizations. Let's deploy those tools to lead. Let's lead in integrity. Let's lead with evidence. Let's lead by analyzing situations and acting based on the reality. Let's face the reality and do the best that we can. Let's be trustworthy so that we can be trusted with resources to manage. And for those who are non-accountants, you don't have to be an accountant to be able to appreciate the tools of accountancy at the basic level. I will encourage all of you to access some basic skills of record keeping, of understanding income statements and balance sheets, of budgets and cash flows, and some basic forecasting tools and financial resource management, so you can lead your organizations using the tools of accountancy. I want to thank you, Sam, and your team for the opportunity to share these thoughts on your platform. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Willie. Thank you so much. We are very grateful for the work you're doing, and we thank you for freely coming to share this with us on this platform. We want to thank everybody who has been on this platform. We want to encourage you. Go on our website. We are heating up for Live to Lead, which is the biggest leadership event in the world. John Maxwell's leadership event, which we at the CTL have been hosting for the last 5 years. It is on October 7. This year is on October 7, and I want to encourage you that this October 7, the first Friday of every October, is Leadership Day. This year we are joined by Dr. Yaupebi to be able to host this. Myself, Sarah, and Dr. Yaupebi are teaming up to host this, and we want to make the first week of October every year Leadership Week. So we want you all to join us. Those of you, especially the accountants on the call, please provide some budget for some of your people to be able to participate in this. This will help you for those who are concerned that accountants are not getting to the top. The Live to Lead is a place for leaders to develop and grow every year. But here at the CTL, we have several leadership training programs that would also help you. So just get in touch with us and we'll be able to help you. On that note, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my team. Sarah, thank you for coming all the way from Geneva every Saturday to help us. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Kofi, and the rest of the team. And for all of you for your time. God bless you. Have a good night. And let's go to church tomorrow to thank God for life. Glory be to his name. Thank you and have a good night. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Will you give us 1 minute?
Navigating through life without a coach or a guide can be very deceiving, making you come to think that you have achieved the highest or the best you can ever, or you have made the best of decisions. But until you become very intentional and take a good stock of your life, you would not realize that it's a mistake.
Pain helps you to come out of your comfort zone.
The law of intentionality and the fact that learning is a lifelong journey if you want to be significant. Emphasis on significance.
Previously, I used to be very unintentional about the things I do when it comes to my family, my work, my Christian life, and basically everything that I do.
In the pursuit of that growth, there are gaps. There are gaps that we need to conquer. These gaps include the knowledge, perfection, mistake, inspirational, timing, and assumption gap.
And I will encourage you to be part of CTL Africa's 15-week growth journey.
I encourage you all out there who need to live their life to be part of CTL Africa's growth journey.
Please take advantage of this program and your life will never be the same.
Thank you very much, CTL Africa, and continue to impact the world. God bless.